player.
All right, Tony. The season is finally over in the Gridiron 7v7 League. We've seen a lot of tremendous players. We've seen a lot of tremendous plays. We've seen some outstanding coaching in our league too, as the season has unfolded and wind down to its final weekend.
Yeah, man. 7 weeks, 8 weeks with the tournament, the midseason tournament. You know, fun part. A bunch of numbers. Some of the coaches have texted in the past couple of days or whatnot. And, one of the big things that a lot of them said was, there was an even competition throughout the league. It wasn't, just somebody coming out there running away with it. And that was the high school division that was talking about that. And I think that is what made the league. I think this year more than anything is that every week somebody could win. We saw it in the 12U division earlier. I don't know if you saw. We'll talk about it later, but Young Guns got beat by Knox Stream. One of the 7th seed. Played a big game and beat the Young Guns. One of the best teams in the league. And that, to be honest with you, that probably made their season. To finish off strong like that. But good competition. Like you said, the coaches did a great job. This weekend, tournament weekend, zero issues, zero altercations. Great job. Hats off to you guys, man. You coach your teams well. Your kids won and lost with class, and I think that's what that's what makes it for myself and Carlos. I think the biggest thing at the end of the day, we can just say, hey, everybody just did their thing, and so it was exciting though. You're right, and some big wins. Some teams won that might not have thought was going to win. So that's what makes it good. So you can get into it.
Some new elements you added to the league too as well.
Yeah, worked on the little pressure package. I don't know what it looked like to everybody, but the one biggest thing that everybody talks about from a coaching perspective at 7-on-7 is it's not realistic. The quarterbacks get no pressure. They don't take drops. Right. So we're just it's not exact, it's not perfect, but we're just trying to add to it and create, kind of a blueprint on how to play 7-on-7 football.
All right, Tony, let's get right into it.
All right. Highlights. See what we got.
Off top, running out his socks, talk more than really be on though. Just fight in France, paint a face like Picasso. I iced out my vatos, I'm really up big. Beamer, big bands in my Bentley necks. Don't play around on my phone. Give me watch on my wrist, out of date, but it's Rolex. Grizzly up next, I'm up now. Stop your bullet. That's
550, 600 hundreds, 720s. Let's get straight to it. 810s, what's that 8 bands? Hit the store and get some rubber bands, let's get straight to it. Everybody come together, everybody got the plan. He came with you, so if he steal it, fall on you, we on your work. Hey, your mans, call his mans, make sure they ain't moving fast. Soon as they touch Atlanta, get with both, secure the bag.
A-bag security, that's on my mama, bro. Ace and love, you right there, Yokohama flow. Made that double, got a Uzi, I don't scuffle, not a banger, but that banger in my glove like an airbag. Only aiming in the sky, Carlos Air Max. All up in demons, copping like a price tag. I'm ballin', ain't there riding in the game that I'm calling. If I need help, about dollars by my CQ.
You swear your bitch faithful, she sent her location. I hit her at the trap indicator, she basic. Chop with the laser, get decapitated. Can't smoke, I'm on papers, hold on, this my Jamaica. Love one, want me dead, so I'm steady praying. Ain't no disrespect without retaliation. Go hotel, I hit her in the basement. Text her later like I'm done with you, I got a situation, baby.
Bro, let me get her then. I'm a dogger out the switcheroo to the lion's den. Nigga talking down my bro, got more heat than a frying pan. Gucci around my hair, wrapped tight like I'm Taliban.
Like I'm Taliban, how we drop, he go. Lot of dread heads, lot of chopsticks. Touch my yachty, get your top ripped. Don't ask the price if you know you ain't tryna cop.
You the type to look around but never cock. Ay, I'm the type to buy the store, make them restock it. Ay, beam on everything I own, I will not miss. Grizzly by my side like a pilot riding cockpit.
Yachty, I might stop rapping for this one reason. If the feds hear it, I'm doing 100 seasons. In the hood, shooting craps in my Yeezys. Put angels on you niggas who be playing like y'all demons.
Middle finger to them hating and faking, they playing on my death. I get a mother's deep. This diamond choker for some reason, give me pure ventilation. Every living will respect this collaboration.
We the bust down brothers, check the rollies out. Say you winning one more time, I'm pulling trophies out. No, we out, no sacks, all Kobe's out. In other words, I'm with all shooters that'll blow you down.
From the D to the A, put respect on it. If that's your why my got on it. I'm from the south, I got diamonds in my teeth. I got fur on my fleece, my new ring can pay your lease.
Oh, really?
Chain on my dresser next to my indictment. When they said not guilty, I was so excited. From the A to the D, you heard Yachty, rape coming this summer. I'ma have your was driving.
He did have 2
You on 1 foot out here.
turn.
You on 1 foot.
I'm out here with 1 foot. I'm telling you, it's this right here. I'm telling them.
All right, we done.
All right. Good highlights, man. Ton of big plays. Corey Lee visuals on the highlights.
Tremendous
Appreciate it.
job.
Once again, added a huge feature to the league last year. And just, I was playing in the old man league out in Oak Ridge when I met Corey. I actually didn't meet him, just saw him out there working, and heck, saw all the videos he's doing over there, and I was like, man, I got to get him and see if he wants to be part of what we're doing. And he's been happy to be part of it, and it's been a tremendous value to what we're trying to add to it.
Great job he's done.
Everybody loves it. They're mad because we don't get enough of them. So, but we'll work on that as we go. But, big wins. The first thing we did this weekend is we played the rest of our regular season games. So everybody, or most everybody, got 2 games, and it was pretty much all matchup games to kind of see how we'd finish the standings. In our JV division, had some really good action. Had some big wins. Finished it off. Young Guns, finished it. They had a game against Bearden. They won 26-17, which gave them the lead to go into first place. So Young Guns finished up first seed. Bearden finished up 2. Goon Squad had a good weekend. Rising Stars went 2-0. Helped them move up, past the Dream Chasers into that fourth place spot. Knox Stream had one of their best weekends they've had. They went 2-0. They beat the Young Guns 26-24 in a pretty high scoring game. So that was pretty impressive. And they beat the Chiefs 23-20. And the Chiefs put on a good little run the last couple of weeks too, putting up some stats. And we'll see some of their guys in the standings, league leaders, here in a few minutes when we talk about it. But
Competition was fierce with the little guys this weekend, Tony. I mean, those guys were really, really getting after it. I mean,
yeah, man, it was. They're starting to learn the game. Kids starting to understand what they're doing out there instead of just out there running around. Some good coaching, like you said. The coaches, like we've talked about it each year, man. Every year that young group gets better and better.
Yeah.
And this year, when we look at numbers, stats, points scored, touchdowns thrown, and we look at all that stuff, it was an improvement, from last year.
I think we even had a Tyson Dorsey sighting this weekend, didn't we?
I looked down and I saw some 6-foot giant down there in 12U in the JV division catching touchdowns for the young, and I was like, they got him today. And but it's been good to see him. He's
see
grown.
That kid back out there. Yeah, he's bigger.
He's just that dude still.
Just a monster.
I know he's a baller in basketball right now, but I tell every parent, if your kid's 6'4", 6'5", in the end of it, it's much easier to be a D1 receiver than it is to be a point guard, a shooting guard, or a power forward, or a center.
Or advertise.
But do what you love.
Player. Yeah.
But sooner or later, you got to get that check, and sometimes that D1 receiver can be a big change for those guys. But standings, everything matched up pretty well, man. We'll go ahead and talk about we'll finish off with our league leaders. For the JV division, wanted to go ahead and finish that out. Kind of talk about if we had any records broken this year or whatnot like that. But when we look at it right now, we got Gavin Robinson finished
38 touchdowns.
38 touchdowns, man. Big day.
Very
big
impressive.
He got better over the year. He continued to have stats right every week, but he started playing the quarterback position better when he came down to the end of it. Taking his drop. Been a little more progressive through his reads and not just bouncing around, finding guys and just look comfortable. And, that's what it's about. You want these guys to get better at this. And, so second place, we got Jalen Daniels at 28. We didn't get his stats for this past week. A couple teams didn't pump their stats in this past week for their 2 games, but this is what we have. But Jalen finished with 28. I was talking to somebody about him earlier today, actually. He's a 2027 kid, of course, 7th grader. He's a Grace Christian middle school player. That's what he played for this past year is Grace Christian. So, going into, 8th grade, he hopefully will be one of those guys that
he's a guy, Tony. He's a guy.
He is. He's got great arm talent, right?
Yeah.
I've talked to his dad. Me and his dad went to high school together, played ball together back in the day. And, he's going to come out, and start fine tuning his foot, because he can put it
Okay.
there pretty much anywhere he
He
wants.
definitely
But
can anywhere he
if
wants
he
to.
fine tunes that, I think he can be really impressive over the next few
He's
years.
another kid. We hope we don't lose him to being a power forward in basketball or something.
Oh, he loves some basketball. They've been
They
playing
love some
AAU
basketball. Yeah.
since he was little. So, but I do promote kids to play all sports they can play. Right? I'd
We
give
do.
anything to play high school
Yeah.
basketball, man. I couldn't
Yeah.
make the team, so but if I could have done it, man, it'd have been one of the most fun things to do. But then we
Paul's
got
gonna be
Connor.
that kid's ticket though.
Yeah, no, I
Huh?
think so also. And man, I didn't fix this misspelling from last week because the standings didn't really change on the league leaders. But Connor Gilbreth, you get finished with 25. You got Braden Black with the Rising Stars finished. He moved up to 23. Kyle Clark with Knox Stream. They didn't really get a lot of wins, but you see
Right.
him and Kel Fleming. Moving up there a little bit with 19 and 18, and you got Micah Jones. I don't think we caught his stats this past weekend. Finished with 16, and then a couple of the backup quarterbacks finished with, almost 10 touchdowns, Asher Eckert and Declan Meisner. Big numbers from the quarterbacks, just real
Right.
quick, looking back, so our leader this year is 38 touchdowns. Last year, if we're looking at career or passing TDs, I know you don't have this one, Los, but I pulled this one up.
Okay.
Last year we had two guys clear 40 touchdowns. Remember, actually, we
Wow.
had a tie last year. We had co-players of the year with Brody Sparks and Colton Faust.
Right.
Rising
Right.
Stars, primetime, top two teams in the league, battled it out all year, finished with 42 touchdowns each at the end, and
Mhm.
couldn't choose. It's like, well, we'll give it to, but,
Right.
so 42 touchdowns. Now, that 38 does put him at third overall. Colton Smith from Team Lions last year finished with 33. So, two guys in 12U JV, whatever we want to call it, over the past few years has cleared 40. And Robinson was right there at 38. So not a bad season overall.
Oh, great arm talent to throw 40 touchdowns.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
to
kidding,
throw
man.
38 touchdowns. I mean,
Uh,
these guys were slinging the rock.
yeah, I just look forward to seeing him come back next year.
Yeah.
And add to it. And it's one thing about the stats. We're going to keep these, and we'll add them to whatever you keep coming back with, and see if you can be one of the best guys. Receivers. Looking at our go getters. You got our two guys at the top.
Tyler
Uh,
Tummins.
Tyler
He had
Tummins.
had
We've
some.
been talking about
He
him
had some
all
great
year.
catches on the. Yeah, he's had some great catches on the video this past week too that I saw.
Yeah, he was on the highlights quite a few times.
Mhm.
Bearden's JV team did really well this year. We'll talk about the playoffs in a minute, but they made a nice run. Got Jason Bourne, the Chiefs,
Mm-hmm.
bottom on
Jason
the
Bourne's
wins
a
and
player.
losses, 0-13, I believe, or whatnot. But, Jason Bourne, 11 touchdowns in the past 2-3 weekends. He caught like 8 or 9. Just so to see those guys start figuring it out a little bit and have somebody go up there and move up to the top is pretty impressive. You got Goon Squad, Terrian, like I said, we hadn't seen him in weeks, but David Maynard with Bearden, Julian Douglas, Elijah Sadler, Terry Beaufort, Gabe Sheeto, Jeremiah Smith, all these guys.
Right.
Haynes Hawkins was a guy down at Knox Stream that had a big weekend this week when he was player of the week. And everybody else, CJ Simpson's another kid that moved up with the Chiefs, had six touchdowns. Avengers, Tyler Sigmund. Some good players, man.
Yeah.
Tons of touchdowns this year overall.
Some names to remember for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking about that for years, right?
Mhm.
There's some kids that started off in this thing, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they're the dudes. They're the guys right
Mhm.
now in high school football around the area that are stars and getting scholarships and moving on and all that fun stuff. So defensive leaders, nobody could catch Micah Jones.
Mm-mm.
He took off. He had 4 interceptions last weekend, I believe, and it just kind of solidified where he's at. So he finished with 11. Elijah Sadler, 8 interceptions. Jeremiah
Sadler's a
Smith.
player.
Yeah, Sadler's a good one, man. He
Yeah.
made some big time plays. Big leader on that defense. One of
Both
the
side
top
of the ball,
defenses
he
in
can
the league.
play.
Yeah, absolutely. He's over there, 8 touchdowns on offense. You got Jeremiah Smith, same deal, offensive, defensive type guy. Haynes Hawkins, just talked about him for a minute.
Mhm.
DeCann Brickner, Knox Stream had 2 guys there. CJ Simpson made a couple. Young Guns got a couple more guys. Jay Neely, Terry Beaufort,
Mhm.
So ton of guys, man. But we still like to do player of the week. And,
Right.
So this week's no different, so we got a couple guys. Quarterback, really just one guy. A couple guys had 4 and 5 touchdowns, but in 2 games, man, and it's been fun because we've been able to give it some different guys at the end of the season. We got Kyle Clark with Knox Stream, 6th grader, Catholic kid, plays for their middle school program. 7 touchdowns. And really helped him out. I mean, if you look at him, he had 19 in the whole season, so to get 7 in 1 weekend in 2 games,
Impressive.
it's pretty impressive against the Young Guns and I forget, and the Chiefs. So really top talent, good defenses. So congratulations, Kyle. Kyle's also one of my trainees. Met Kyle probably about 6 months ago, so he's a kid that I look forward to working with.
Good to see some new faces winning too, Tony.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It just shows they're getting better. They're for mid-season. Some Robinson, Daniels. Gilbert got it once. Daniels got it again. So good to see Kyle Clark, Kelflin. Even Micah Jones, I think, got one. I know we called his name for something, offense, defense, or quarterback. But a bunch of faces, showed out and represented at certain times of the year. It was really good for them. Receivers. Two of our teams, the Chiefs and Knox Stream, had 2 of our top receivers this week. Jason Bourne had 3, and Haynes Hawkins had 3. I think with Knox Stream going 2-0, we're going to go with Haynes Hawkins. He had a couple of big catches, some really big catches against Young Guns. So a double whammy right here. Haynes Hawkins, 3 touchdowns. Go getter of the week. For week 7. And man, I'm looking here. Speaking of Haynes Hawkins, man, we're looking at the defensive side of the ball, and there was really no interceptions hardly this week, but Haynes ended up getting 2 interceptions. So
Haynes was the man.
Knox Stream just had their best week. Had a good weekend. And they're getting rewarded for it. So Haynes was the guy for defense this week. He had 2 interceptions. Nobody else had that. So Haynes, congratulations on the ball hawk of the week.
The kid was phenomenal, winning 2 awards.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Really stepped up. JV division, had a great year this year with these guys. I think there was, let me see if I had one more stat to look at. In receiving TDs, who was our leading receiver in touchdowns? 15? Okay.
Yeah.
So Tyler Tummins with 15, a name that you'll remember, crushed the league when he came and played Boone.
McCamus.
There you go.
Yeah. Gibbs. He plays at Gibbs.
Heck, he's a sophomore maybe now this year, going to be a junior next season. Actually, one of my good friends, sons.
I think he may just be a sophomore.
Yeah, he's a sophomore right now.
Yeah,
and,
I think he plays
he's
as a freshman over there.
And a couple other things, but he's the beast, man. That was 2019 when he played with Central Elite. Coach Paris had a good team that year. He was matched up with TKA quarterback Elijah Williams Smith Williams that year. So they threw a ton of touchdowns. But Boone McCamus had 14. Tyson Dorsey last year had 11. And heck, another name we like to talk about, didn't talk about him as much this year, but I know he's a baller, Braylon Robinson. In 2021 last year with the Rising Stars, he had 10 touchdowns as their lead go-getter. Some really good talent, man. So this year just seeing that, Tyler Tummins, he'll end up being the number 1 guy for the 6th, 7th grade JV division leader, for a season. And then Jason Bourne right there tied at 2nd. Or at 3rd, I guess,
with 11,
whatnot, with 11 at Tyson Dorsey. So impressive years. We had some record breakers. Some guys win quite a few games. It's really fun. Just look forward to seeing those guys. We're going to have to go out and check out some middle school football.
Definitely
here sometime this fall.
Yeah, I want to see some of these kids in pads.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there is a translation. Hopefully. There's some guys that ball in 7-on-7 and what they say, don't bust a grape in the pads. So, but we'll see, but there's some that do them both. And, that's what we hope that happens. But 12U division, congratulations, guys. Let's get to, I guess, the big part, right? The bracket. Right. And walk it down. Didn't get all the scores on there on each bracket, but got most of them. So when we're looking at the bracket, we've got, sitting at number 1 seed, we got Young Guns and the Chiefs were game 1, 20-15, pretty close game.
Yeah.
Young Guns went ahead and took it on to the next round. You got the Rising Stars and the Dream Chasers. Dream Chasers came in the league like 2 weeks late, really made a good run, finished as a 5th seed. Rising Stars put a good push, but Dream Chasers pulled it out, 22-19.
19,
Dream Chasers moved on to the semifinal. We got Goon Squad and Avengers was a really good matchup. 26-14. And then, you got Bearden that put a really good run in this past weekend. Bearden and knocked Stream, I think it was 33-19, and Bearden took that one. So, good matchups. Not really anybody. The Rising Stars and Dream Chasers was kind of a toss up,
Right.
but the other teams are kind of expected to win. But these last two games, you got Young Guns and Bearden, pulled it out with pretty convincing wins. Young Guns was what 17-7, Bearden 30,
Bearden.
40
to 9.
40-9 over Goose Squad. That's a big win, man.
That's a surprise too. It was
Yeah,
that
it
much.
really is. They got in a rhythm, man. And I hate to see Goon Squad go out like that, but hey, that's just part of the way the ball bounces sometimes. But Bearden just came on strong offensively. And then you get Young Guns and Bearden in a rematch they played each other back to back weeks. Bearden won last weekend, Young Guns won this weekend, and then in this last game, Bearden pulled it out, and heck, I don't even remember the score off the top of my head. I don't think I got it, but I don't even know if it's a close one off the top of my head. But Bearden pulled it out, man. JV division champions. I think it was within 10-point game because that last touchdown was pretty big. But congratulations, Bearden. Way to represent. It was the home team there for a while.
Right.
And transitioned over to becoming a little away team. Have to travel a little bit, but
They got a really good program all the way up.
Yeah,
all
they did
the
well,
way
man.
up.
All their groups did good. Coaches did a good job.
I was impressed.
They held their kids together pretty good. So, good job, guys. Congratulations, 12 JV division. Super exciting. And Bearded Bulldogs, congratulations. Hopefully see you guys next season. We'll definitely see you sometime during the off season.
Let's go to the varsity.
Yeah, varsity division. It's been a really exciting Division 2 this season. Get down to it. We've been talking about it all year. We had two teams that really, took hold of the league and ran away with it for a little bit. Team Up Gray and Code Blue. They just had some of the better players, whatever. They just came out and played. Team Up Gray finished 12-1. The only loss they had was Code Blue, and I think it was their first meeting. Code Blue finished 9-4. They finished 3 losses to Team Up Gray and 1 loss to the Rising Stars, I think in week 2 or 3. Then you got the Cougars made a really good push near the end. I think Cougars went 2-0 in their last 2 playoff games, which moved them ahead of Bearden, I believe, to move up into that 3rd seed. And Team Up Gray played Code Blue in the last regular season game. It didn't really mean much for standings, but when you got two teams like that, top talent, I mean, you might as well let them compete, and play against each other. So they played again and had some fun with it. But Bearden finished 8-9. You got the Crusher. I mean, when you look at it, from Team Up Gray and even Code Blue, they both played 5 high school games that don't go against their record. So, if they'd have both had 5 more games in this division, I'm sure, they'd had 12, 13, 14 wins or whatnot. But basically from Cougars all the way down to even Seymour, it was a competitive year. Guys were 2-2 in their series. Not too many series were 3-1. If they played 4 times and even 3 times, it's 2-1, whatnot. Not really an 0-3 or anything like that. But the Crushers had a good season. Finished up pretty well. The Rising Stars. Moving up, this is their first year up in the next division. They played 3 years in the 12U JV division. So, and, Seymour, came out, a little bit late in the season and, put a couple good weekends together, but didn't really finish overall probably the way they hoped to. Looking at points scored, man, 447 points with Code Blue.
Wow.
That's big time offense. I haven't really paid attention to this that much. But then, giving up 200 points with Team Up Gray, they were playing lockdown when it came to defense, man. And if you can play defense in 7-on-7, it's easy.
You'll win some games.
To be honest with you, because it reminds me of arena football. It's just the offense is supposed to score all but maybe 2 times, and if you get 2 stops, you've got a really good chance to win. And but overall, standing wise. We saw what it looked like. Stat-wise, gave everybody else a little bit of a chance to compete, I guess, except for quarterbacks. We look at quarterbacks. You got Blaine Stansberry and Cruz Cunningham sitting right there at the top.
Setting the pace,
Blaine,
the bar real high with those guys.
yeah, man. Blaine Stansbury, 51 touchdowns. Not too many guys over the years have hit 50. And like we said, he played 5. Actually, he got stats for those 5 games he played high school, but those games were all against high school guys that they lost. Except for one game, they did win one high school game. But I can only imagine if he had 5 games against the 15 varsity
Right.
division guys.
He might be looking at 60.
Close to 60. So.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he didn't run it up too much. So next year when he comes back and plays, he can chase that 51 and see if he can match it up. But Cruz Cunningham. Playing with Team Up Gray, one of the top teams in the
41.
league. Great
Yeah.
season, 41
Yeah.
touchdowns. We didn't get his last couple games, so I know he was up there. I don't think he had 50, but he was somewhere around that 45, 46 mark. We got Elias Childers, 34 touchdowns. Kids come around a long way. Look forward to him to grow and keep learning. Madden Guffey had 32 touchdowns.
I'm impressed with Madden Guffey's number.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, to be honest, to be the last place team.
Right.
And be right there at what is it, 4th? I guess you could say 4th in touchdowns, and 2 away from 3rd.
He got better as the season went along.
Yeah, it took a minute to figure it out. And I told those guys, and it is what it is, right? I told them if y'all show up in practice one time, we'd be a whole lot better, just with one practice. But we never put it together. So for them to be able to do that and just showing up, proud of them. Matt's one of my my lefties. And looking forward to him, moving on to Seymour High School this upcoming year, and playing a little role up there just to be able to be supportive and play up there. But you got Logan Ballou for the Cougars. Only 21 touchdowns. I don't think we got his stats for the past, but the Cougars had, their offense was tough to stop, man. They consistently drove down the field and scored points. But they gave up a ton of points also, and that was their big thing. Going back to it, I bet Cougars gave up 407 points, but they were 9-10, 3rd place in the league. But they gave up when they lost big, but when they won, they were able to win and pull out those games. But Jack Harrison, another kid that
My guy, Jack.
Yeah, I've been training Jack since the winter, and he's one of those guys that came in really raw, had a nice little whip on him. A lot of the quarterbacks that come see me, they come in, they can throw the football. And Jack's got good tight spiral, good arm strength for his age, and watching him progress, after our first handful of sessions has been really fun, and then watching him get out there and make throws, and he's got a good energy about himself.
He's got some moxie.
I could see him in the pads, running the ball, making some plays, and and getting out there in the field. So he's going to be a fun guy to watch grow and develop this upcoming year too. He should be Bearden's MAC quarterback, I believe. For this upcoming year. But you got Brody Sparks and Madden McNeil for the Rising Stars. Been looking at those kids. Just talked about Brody Sparks a minute ago. Both those kids are really good quarterbacks. Impressive. I've seen Madden numerous times. I'm sure he'll be back in the offseason. Madden plays baseball, pretty good baseball player. I think Brody does too. Actually, half that list probably plays baseball and is pretty good at it. But congratulations, Blaine Stansbury, though, just finishing out 51 touchdowns. We bring it up real quick, touchdown wise. Our leader in the 15U JV division as a season
Varsity
so far,
division
was Kai Beasley. Kai Beasley played for the Rebels last year. He played for the Crushers this year as a 9th grader. Could have been in the varsity division this year with his team, but wanted to play up and take his try high school, and it was a good challenge. We've talked about that, but he had 40 touchdowns last year and led what was with our 15U division last year is what we called it. And Elijah Smith Williams had 38. Briggs Cherry, another big name in our league, had 38. Landon Hensley had 37. So last year we had a big race last year. And Gib Maupin had 32. So we had some guys
slinging it around
that were slinging it last year. So when we look at it, Blaine 40 is the win. So Blaine and Cruz
1 and 2
broke the record, this year for top 2 quarterbacks in our 15U / varsity division. So that's good to see. Elias Childers is right there, be about 5th or 6th. So, had some guys get up there in the top 5 this year. So, a lot of those guys are going into the 9th grade next year. So we'll be able to play again in this division. Right. So maybe they'll come back and do it just as well. Looking at receivers, man, Seymour's Dylan King, huh?
It's a machine.
Dylan King, thank you for showing up every weekend.
Picked up
I
2
coached the
awards
senior
last week.
team,
I know that.
and it's always you got to have a guy.
hmm
When I had a
He
guy,
is the guy.
you got to have one guy, right? And if
hmm
you have one, you can do something. You have two, you can do a little more. You have three, you can win a lot. But Dylan King, man, 22 touchdowns in this division
Unstoppable.
this year. Big numbers. I mean, he was really. I mean, I look forward to seeing him in pads this upcoming year. I think
hmm
he's really a more physical kid than he is a
Yeah.
skilled kid, but he's got skills too. If you know what I mean, that's not a negative. But it was fun, watching him come out and and all the kids on his team believe in him and that stuff. So he's gonna be
Mhm.
one of those dudes at Seymour that hopefully carry that program into some success over the next few years. Code Blues, Riley Wolfenbarger have been at the top of the list all year long
All
from
year
week
long.
one. 18 touchdowns. You got Jordan Hayes, been talking about him for a couple years now, 13 touchdowns.
hmm
Evan Pyatt and Code Blue racked up some guys there near the end
Yeah.
and started spreading the ball. Well, they've been spreading it out all year, but Evan Pyatt and Cody Miller both racked up to 8.
Mhm.
You got Tummins sitting
Young
there
Tummins.
at 7. Caleb Harris,
Yeah.
Jackson Galka, Alexander Glass, all with 7. Elijah Johnson, Corey Person with 6. Had a couple of new guys pop up in the list at 5 this week. I think Waylon Love was a new guy. Caden Williams, Robbie Farmer had some last year. Will Presley had 3 touchdowns this week with Code Blue.
See Travis Cozart on there.
Yeah, Travis Cozart, he had 5
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago. He's probably one of those kids too that physically is going to
Yeah.
be, he'll be playing high school football before half these kids on this list probably just, some of these kids will be playing too, but you looked at him playing. I'm
Travis.
sure his high school football
Travis.
coach is ready for him to play now, huh?
Travis played last year with William Blunt.
Okay, so there
Yeah,
you go.
last year he was
He's a
already on the
ninth grader,
varsity
huh?
level. Yeah.
Okay,
I got a
wow.
chance to
So,
meet his mom this weekend.
okay, yeah, he, Jabari, Coach Davis, man, he always finds some guys, and
Don't always have
Cozart
something.
is from what, like the Lenore City area or something? Is that where he's from, or where's he from?
Yes,
William Blunt?
no, he plays for William Blunt, but I think
Okay,
he is
William
from the
Blunt.
Lenore City area. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and Jabari just finds guys, man, and good talent always finds Jabari, and he's done a really good job of building his program over the past few years. He probably won't like us hearing this, but Jabari needs to have about 4 or 5 teams in the league
Yeah.
whenever it comes down to it, right?
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you, Juice. I know you're busy, baby.
Offensive leaders or ball
Yeah,
hawks.
Ball Hawks. We got a tie now, which is good.
Mhm.
I guess quarterback wise means a couple guys didn't get any interceptions, but Jordan Hayes, Riley Wolfenbarger, Javiston Badgett, all at 4.
Stink Badgett.
Yep, he had those. He had that one big weekend. And,
Yeah.
and that's all it takes to get up in these standings. Definitely it
Right.
seems like in interceptions. Gabe St. John, Abel Anslett, been saying their name with those 3 for the past few weeks, but had some good guys. Some good talent. It shows those guys are offense and defensive type players.
Right.
Hopefully their high school coaches will utilize them, as they come up and let them play a little bit on both sides. When it comes to players of the week, not really too many new names, but we will give for quarterback this week in having 2 games. Logan Ballou for the Cougars.
Logan.
They went 2-0 and needed those 2 wins. It moved, like I said, it moved them up and kept them from getting passed in the standings. He had 5 touchdowns. So Logan Ballou with the Cougars, congratulations, gunslinger of the week. Receiver wise, honestly, I'd rather give it to somebody new to be real with you, man. But Dylan King, man, another 3 touchdown weekend. Nobody else had it, and so Dylan King, congratulations.
Way to go to work this season,
Go get of the
son.
week. But I'd say this though, DB of the week, ball hawk of the week. We didn't have any. We had I don't even think there was any interceptions that
Really?
recorded, but everybody didn't turn in their stats.
Okay, that's
So,
right.
it's just one of those things. I think I only had 4 or 5 teams this week turn it in. But no ball hawk of the week for the varsity division. Just a quick number. Receiving touchdowns in a season. We smashed that record. It was Torrey Beaufort with 17 last year with the Goon Squad. And Jordan Hayes. Jordan Hayes and Torrey Beaufort tied with 17 touchdowns last year to lead the league, 1 and 2. Cougars Hunter Baird and guard and from 21 had 13, and another kid I really like to watch play in pads and play anything really, basketball, football, is he played for Team Gunslinger, Marcellus Jackson.
Oh yeah,
Marmar, that was a guy, man. I
Amar.
enjoyed having him on the team that year. Got to coach him in 8th grade football back in the day. So he's just one of those kids, man. He's a good kid.
One of the more dynamic players, Tony, this past season in high school football with the Fulton Falcons.
Yeah, he really is,
The
man.
kid is a quarterback, wide receiver, running back, defensive back. I mean, he can do it all. Kick return, punt return, wherever you put him, he's just a player.
I know, and he's a good kid,
Yeah.
and that's one thing I've noticed about him over the years, and one of the few kids I see it randomly, and when I turn around, if I'm walking away, he always comes up and says hello, whatnot, and just one of those kids that I hope really good things happen for him, coming.
I talked to him on Twitter. I talked to him on Twitter the other day, and he's still looking around. So
Is he?
see what's going to
Okay.
happen. Yeah.
He's got talent, man. He just needs to
Yeah.
get somewhere. Like a
Yeah.
lot of these kids, man, that it's tough right now. But the key for most of you guys right now is just get somewhere. Get on a team, and division doesn't even matter anymore. I don't think. I
Right.
mean, you just got to be on a school.
you
where
gotta
they
be a
got football
player.
team where you can practice and play and get better and develop. And but those two guys were there at the top with 17. So when you look at it, Dylan King with 22 and Riley Wolfenbarger,
Right,
number
with
1 and 2
18.
now, with 22 and 18. So congratulations to those guys. Really
Good
impressive
job.
for their deal. I guess we get to the fun stuff, huh?
The
High school.
bracket.
Actually, let's get to that bracket. Yeah, my bad. So we pull up the bracket. Team Up Gray finished number 1. Got the bye week. You got Code Blue number 2. They had Seymour in the first game. Code Blue won pretty big. I don't know the score on that one. The Code Blue was up probably 30 something, not very many. You got the Cougars and the Rising Stars, and the Rising Stars in the varsity division, was able to win a couple games, able to beat the Cougars. You got Bearden and the Crushers. That was a game that was kind of a toss up, and Bearden had been good all year. And I think the Crushers ended up winning that game pretty handily, to be honest with you. Then you got Team Up Gray and the Crushers, and Team Up Gray is just on a roll, and got the Crushers. They really couldn't match up. Then you got Rising Stars and Code
Stars
Blue.
and Code Blue.
And Code Blue, of course, just outmatching the Rising Stars. And then you got the 5th game of the year against Team Up Gray and Code Blue. Actually, it's probably so the regular season they played 4 times. And I think it was 3-1.
Yeah, that's what you said earlier.
Team Up Gray. Now, in the previous tournament, they ended up playing 2 other times. And remember, in our midseason tournament, Code Blue lost one, and then they won, the tournament, in the midseason tournament. So, these guys end up again, and we kind of figured it, unless somebody just really played a great game. You got these guys again in the championship game. And, Code Blue, hey, you don't have to win them all. As long as you win the last one, right?
You're in the right ones too.
Yeah, you win the games that matter the most, and
Right.
you don't even worry about the rest. So, Code Blue played big. Blaine Stansberry, Wolfenbarger, Pyatt,
Miller, all those guys.
All those guys played really good games. Coach Moog did a great job, doing
Did a
his thing.
tremendous job.
He's coached to a couple Gridiron League championships now. He might be the winningest coach in the Gridiron. We hadn't actually matched that up and seen that,
Yeah.
but he may be the winningest coach in the Gridiron League because he's coached the high school team also. They played with us a couple years ago. So, but good overall finish, man. Really exciting division this year.
Yeah.
Competitive.
Glad to see those guys back too this year.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of returning teams in this division,
Mhm.
really. Coming up from 12U all the way, to the varsity are just returners. So we'll continue to grow this thing, and this division will continue to be one of the exciting ones, and just keep doing our thing. But let's go ahead and get to the high school guys.
To the big
And,
dogs.
Kind of see how they were able to finish up their season and go from there. We had our 2 divisions, of course, Gunslinger division, Gridiron division. Had a couple matchups before our playoff tournament, a couple games that really mattered. Cougars and 1776 was a play for first place, and Cougars was able to win that game. and that set them up for first place in our
Right.
in the bracket. Betsy built and CAK played. CAK actually got that win, but they couldn't. I think Betsy had another win. Betsy had another win against, actually beat 1776. 1776, which we'll talk about them later in our bracket. They went 0-2 in the first two games, which would be our last two games of the season. They went 0-2 against the Cougars and Betsy built, two of the top two teams in the division. Isaiah Hall, could be a story in itself for this past weekend. Just had the plate and 12 screws taken out of his right leg, which for a right-handed quarterback, that's the leg you throw off of and push off of. He didn't come out and play last weekend because he was doing surgery that Friday. So, but wanted to come out and be part
You
of
can't
the
keep
team.
that field. You can't keep that kid off the field. He's a gym rat. I mean,
He is, man. He's a kid that when me and his dad were talking, like at the end of sessions, he's still like throwing balls at him, and we're both like, "Just chill out, man. Like, let us talk," and he's still throwing, But came out and threw off of one leg all day long, man.
all day
Pure
long,
arm, straight
throwing
just arm
darts,
talent.
throwing
And
bullets all day long.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch the
Yeah, some of
videos
those
just because I
throws are
didn't get to
just
watch much of the
incredible.
highlights. But just shows just a natural accuracy. And that's something we talk about in a lot of quarterbacks. A lot of guys don't get to drop back and just stand still. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're on the move, you're off balance, you're off one leg, two, whatever, and if you're accurate, that's what's going to make or break you.
Right.
And the kids that can't throw when they're on the move, heck, that's about 70% of the game. You're not going to play too much. So Isaiah showed a great weekend, as well as a couple other guys we'll talk about. But I guess overall, the three teams we had that did the best deal though this weekend was the Cougars. They went 2-0, CAK went 2-0, and Bearden ended up 2-0. So when we get down to that Gridiron division, you got Team Up Black. They had one big game they had to play and win. They played pressure and won that game 22-20.
I said that was a really good game.
It really was, man. We had some good games, in this division the whole year. But even I guess 2 days
past
ago
weekend.
on Sunday, but then also Team Up Black had to play Bearden, and Bearden, I believe, got after him, 20-11, and ended up pulling out the win. But even though they were 11 wins and 11 wins, or 8 wins, I guess in division play, Team Up Black had a 2-1 lead, out of their 3-game series. And Pressure had a chance. If they had won their 2 games, they'd have been the number 1 seed, and they kind of laid an egg right there in those first 2 games, and then went from 6-4 to 6-6 in the division. Then Carnes finished off fairly well. Won 1 and lost 1 to finish off 5-7. The Crushers ended up winning 1-1, and Seymour, I believe, they lost both their last regular season games. But overall, it looks like the Cougars had the biggest offense of the season. With 406 points, which I need to look at it. I do have our team stats for the past few years, and we'll talk about that, another show randomly, who scored the most points, what programs have won the most or whatnot. But, defensively, it looks like all the defenses were fairly even. Looks like 243 points was the least amount given up, and that was the Crushers. Grace had a pretty good season, defensively, but, you look at it, it's pretty even in the wins and losses, over the year, man. And I'm glad it's kind of went to our, we talk about it all the time. The goal, for us, definitely going into next year, it's something we're going to really push and promote is we need every high school team in the area just to have a team and create a league where we have teams where they're competing, they're really learning their offenses, and they're and when we I was talking to a couple coaches, Coach Slover for the Hurricanes, he's one of those guys that played quarterback at Tusculum before I did, played quarterback at Anderson County when I was a little bit younger, but a guy I respect, he's a slinger, and so talking to him, they've watched some of the huddle videos and stuff like that, so just all the things we do really relates to like a team atmosphere, and for the high schools to be able to use this thing as a real, opportunity.
And it's a precursor, Tony, too, for the high school teams as they move into the summer and they start doing their own individual 7-on-7 stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in the summer, that's exactly what it is. High school teams have 6 or 7 competitions they're allowed to go to. There's a handful of schools around the area that have their own tournaments. Powell's had a tournament the past couple of years. I'm sure Bearden have a tournament this year. and then they have a big one out at Maryville College. They generally do. I don't know if they have it again out there, but it's been one of those things they've had for the past few years. And so it's just kind of like you said, it's a precursor, to doing
Yeah.
that, and just adds reps.
Working with your guys. I mean, even longer, extra reps, like you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Another team I didn't mention was Carnes. They went 5-7 in division play, 10-9 though in the regular season versus everybody. And that was another guy. Talking to Coach Taylor. Brad Taylor's another guy. When I went to Tennessee Tech, he was finishing up his career at Tennessee Tech. He was a graduate assistant. Playing a tight end. He was actually a really good tight end at Tennessee Tech whenever I was coming up. And now he's a coach here in Knoxville. So be able to find some guys that he actually got to coach me a little bit back in the day, and hopefully he appreciates my growth and development from over the years. But talking to him, he really enjoyed watching his kids play. Huffaker, one of those guys. We watched Carnes struggle a little bit in the first 2 weeks, and they didn't throw the ball a lot during the season either, because Deshaun Bishop was running up and down the field on people. But how often, when you're such a run-dominated team, do you really get to practice the passing game? And it's for him to come out here and get, 19 games. I think they finished with more games than anybody in the season, but they had 19 games. I'm sure the kid threw 300, 400 balls. And near the end of the season, man, look better, look smoother, look more comfortable. So those are some of the things we look at, and that's really what this is about. It's not just really about coming out and playing. That's why we added the pressure package deal this past weekend. It's something we want to add and innovate to where I tell you this, the quarterbacks dropped back more in those first 3 games than I'd seen them do in a long time. Because that thing's right there in front. They were backing it, and then they'd sprint out a little bit. They're trying to drop back and then move to the edge of the pot, just to create a little visual. So it played its purpose. But that's what we want to do, though. We got to try to figure out how to make this thing as realistic as we can, because we want people to want to play in the league, because that's what it is. Because you can go play anywhere, right? You can get up and scrimmage and play. There's other areas to go to, but if you want to do it in an atmosphere that's trying to really create something new and create the best product that we can possibly come up with, and always innovating. I don't think there's anything in the country, really, to be honest with you, like the Gridiron 7v7 league. And, people around the country tell you the same thing. But, let's go ahead and get into our stats.
Our brackets.
The high school leaders.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and knock these out. Hunter White. So our top 2 quarterbacks this year, in varsity and high school, finished with 51 touchdowns. Hunter White finished with 51. Talked about it last week. I don't remember what we said the number 1 was, but did he end up breaking it? I think he had. Did he not have it broke?
I think he had it broke already. I think it was Dakota that threw the most.
Yeah, it might have been. I'm gonna pull that up real quick just to see high school division QBs. Hunter White had 58 last year.
Wow.
So, Dakota Fowler had 40 in 11 games, which is the most in such short amount of games. But, so he had 58 last year in 19 games. So, this year, I'm not sure how many games did he have this year. How many did pressure? 18. So, in 18 games, so 1 game less, 51 touchdowns. So, big season, by him. You got Landon Hensley, the other Cougar.
Got right behind him. The guys who are going to take his place.
Guys
going to take his place this year.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Looking forward to seeing that guy. Looking forward to seeing him get that varsity action. Been seeing that kid throw the ball for the past couple of years. Time to see him, really playing some game. Oh, there we go. playing some games that actually mean something. So, Briggs Cherry, another big time quarterback. One of the kids that went down to one of the camps this past weekend. It was a pretty good camp. Ended up winning the MVP in the middle school division. So he's representing himself well, leaving out, going outside. I even had some comments on a couple of our other quarterbacks, from our middle school division. Briggs is a upcoming 9th grader, but he's playing in the high school division. But Matt Guffey and Blaine Stansberry, both those guys went down there, and Elias Childers, and some of those coaches had some really good things to say about those guys too. Their footwork and mechanics and stuff. So I was a really proud coach this past weekend when you hear back. These guys came down there represented in front of a bunch of guys from all over the country. You got Isaiah Hall finished with 36 touchdowns. Gib Maupin 31, Edmondson, Huffaker, Aiden Trout, Kai Beasley, Eli Seals, Drew Parrott, Blake Johnson. Just a good quality group of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Man. You got your receivers. I think we did get a record on this one. You got Devin Jones sitting at 25 touchdowns. Bishop had 16, which I think we missed 1 week of Bishop's touchdowns, so he might have had 18 or so.
Yeah.
They start getting near the end of the season and
Start falling off.
Yeah, gotta start keeping up with the stats so we can
Yeah.
keep up with this stuff because it still makes it fun. But Devin Jones had 29 touchdowns last year, so he missed his record. At 25 this year. So
That kid's
29.
going to have a big year for Campbell County. I'm predicting 75, 80 balls. He's going to probably have 13, 14 touchdowns. He's a player.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And I don't know if it's just a new thing or whatnot, but like pretty much all these kids we talk about are good kids. And I hate to say that every time, but it's like a lot. Good job, parents. I mean, just to be honest with you, a lot of these kids are really respectful, carry themselves with class. Whether they're winning and losing. And we saw a lot of that this year. Of course, there's a guy or two here and there. And we had a guy a couple of weeks ago, but I tell you this: before the day was over, within 3 hours, he hit me up on Twitter. Apologized, was super respectful when I hit him up and said, hey, you're more than welcome to come back. It's no big deal. But that's what I told him. I was like, I appreciate you just reaching out, man, because that's, football is a game where you've got a lot of testosterone. You've got a lot of guys out there and a lot of
kids
men.
are going to get run into each other. Kids are going to get tackled. Kids are going to, even though it's 7-on-7, that kind of stuff is it just happens.
And they're going to talk. They're going to compete, and the alpha guy. It's just going to come out. And but in the end, if you could shake hands, I used to be vicious when I would compete against people, but at the end, it was just a respect thing. Like, hey, we're playing hard, man. And at the end, it's a good game. You got me or I got you. I'll see you next time, and we'll see how it goes. And that's the type of competition you want to see. And we saw a lot of that this year. And that goes a long way with the coaches. It goes a long way with, to be honest with you, the whole process of a kid growing up through Little League, middle school coaches, high school coaches, parents, it's teachers, it's a little bit of everybody that's around them. So when you run across a kid like that, it's normally not just one person in their life that's, putting in good things to them. They generally got a good team of people really putting a lot of effort into them. Deshaun Bishop, he's been so fun to watch this year just because he's a daggone running back. And the last thing I expected, to be honest with you,
tremendous pass catching skills. I mean, he's going to be a guy. He doesn't have to come off the field. He's a 3-down back.
Yeah, I mean, you can put him at the slot and let him roll. He's going to win against. I mean, he's out there winning against corners. He's just going out there, just standing in the end zone and waiting on the ball and just out jumping everybody and playing the ball. And so, that's a dude
athlete.
that it's curious to see how that's going to turn out for him too, because I know he's a running back, but when it comes to college, how. Hopefully he makes it, right. Nothing's a guarantee, but it looks like he's, going to be talented enough to end up moving to that level after next year. But just seeing how he, what he turns into, man, what type of specialist he becomes,
And he can do it all. Like I said, I see him being a guy, I mean, at the next level, Tony. I mean, look at what he does at the high school level. You can give him the ball 30, 40 times a game, and the kid still, fourth quarter, he's probably stronger than he was in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just a hoss. Yeah, he's just a hoss. And he's got that mindset too that you can't stop me. And he believes it too. You can't stop him.
Yeah. And that's a big thing too, because when you present that aura, it's I think I shared something about Mike Tyson today, and he was talking about Muhammad Ali. And I guess some talk show host had them together, and Muhammad Ali's older, and Tyson, and they didn't ask Tyson who would win. They asked Muhammad Ali who would win if Muhammad Ali fought Tyson in his prime. And Muhammad Ali looked over and didn't really say that. He just pointed back to Tyson, and so he was kind of saying, "Oh, Tyson would beat me." And but then Tyson was like, "No," he's like, "There's no way," and he showed a lot of love to Muhammad Ali. But he said the one thing that he learned from Muhammad Ali that really helped him is that he created a persona that, like, by the time they got in the ring, his opponent didn't even believe he was supposed to beat him. He's like, God, this guy's supposed to kill me. How am I going to win? And it was just by talking and believing it and then backing it up when it came down to putting the hands up and doing your thing, So I think that's big in sports. I kind of helped myself that way. I wasn't always the best.
Bishop is definitely he's an alpha male.
Yeah, he really is, man.
Yeah.
Getting back down the list a little bit, Zach Brady, Zach Brady and Connor Moody really made huge runs the past 3 weeks with those big wins that Pressure was having. They weren't even on the list.
Right.
Connor Moody moved up to 4th place with 12 touchdowns. I think both those guys had 3 touchdowns this week. Blake Overton, another guy we've been talking about all year, had 11 touchdowns. Walker Lockhart, Mason Shanks,
Mason
Chris
Shanks,
Brown,
my guy.
numerous names there. You can read down the list. I think down near the bottom, Nolan Bissell had a big week for 1776 this weekend. Ethan Miller from the Cougars had 7. Wesley Whalen, Luke Whaley, all those guys. Big season. It's fun to watch. Defensive leaders. Had a guy come in and make some plays. Because we only kept stats for the first couple games or whatnot, and Ethan Miller ended up with 7 final touchdowns.
Interceptions.
Interceptions for the season. Blake Overton, 6 interceptions. The defending player of the year on defense from last season. And then of course Hal Niendorf, Keaton Graham, Thomas Simpson, Drew Eric, Keyshawn Mills, another former quarterback, which is some kids start at quarterback because they're the best athlete on the field, and
Right.
I think Keyshawn's one of those kids that could play quarterback, but he's just so darn good at whatever you put him at. To be honest with you, put him at slot, he can go play plays. You put him at secondary, he's going to go get interceptions. So he's been doing a lot of work at the skill position lately, and it's kind of shown on his end. I think he's just an 8th grader right now, right?
Yeah, he's just gonna be. Yeah, he's going to the 9th grade, I think.
Yeah, because he played for the Future Stars last year,
Yeah.
and that's the first time he had really played another position. And he caught like a deep 40-yard corner route for a touchdown. It was really an impressive catch, actually. Cam Baker, another big-time player. Walker Lockhart, Wesley Whalen, Nate Walden. Bunch of fun names. I look forward to seeing these guys play this year, because a lot of these names I had no idea who they were, going into the season. A lot of new names in the league this year. It's going to be fun, man. Keep up with these guys. But we go to our player of the week for this week. Quarterback wise, got a handful of guys. Maupin had 5 touchdowns. Hall had 5 touchdowns. White had 6. Hensley had 6. But for our 2 regular season games, Cougars were 2-0 against 2 of the top teams in the division. And so Landon Hensley with 6 touchdowns. Congratulations.
Good job,
again.
Landon.
Yep. Quarterback, gunslinger of the week. Wide receivers, guess it's kind of a matchup deal, really. Had a handful of different names to choose from. Nate Stevens had 3. Nolan Bissell had 3. Zach Brady had 3. Connor Moody had 3. Devin Jones had 3. Everybody had 3, but only one team went 2-0, and and I guess might as well end on this guy with Devin Jones, 3.
Good job, Devin, again.
Led his team to an undefeated finish the regular season, which moved them up to where they needed to finish on the bracket seeding, and end up finishing as the top receiver of the year too. So Devin Jones, congratulations.
Great job.
Getter of the week. And when it comes to DBs, like I said, there wasn't too many stats turned in, so defensive back of the week. I know people probably think I just don't like defensive backs, to be honest with you, but if we only had receivers catching 1 touchdown, they're not getting player of the week either, to be honest with you.
Right.
So, there wasn't a defensive back of the week this year or this weekend. Another weekend of quarterbacks making good decisions. One stat that somebody asked me if I would keep it next year, and it sounded like a good idea, to be honest with you, is interceptions thrown by quarterbacks.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, if you coaches and parents or scorekeepers, whoever does it, if I can figure out a way to get this thing electronic, we may even do completions and attempts. But that's going to be a whole lot of adding for me, when I come back and read these things. It's hard to read some of these score sheets sometimes.
Right.
I try to get them all right, but I'm really trying to automate some of this stuff for next season. And we're already working on everything we're trying to do for next year is already in the mix of what we're trying to do now to fix it up. But really going to try to make that automated to where when we fill in the stats, it's not a sheet of paper. It's on like Google Sheets, and you're just kind of punching them in, and they keep up the stats. And I just go home at the end of the day and figure out who the leaders are. And I think that'll make everything easier. Everybody will be accountable to it also. There should be no texts or calls that I miscounted somebody or something like that, because I do that. I make mistakes, and but we get them fixed ASAP. But congratulations to those players of the week. Let's check out the bracket for the high school division. When we get to that bracket, some pretty good competition, man. Our first game was CAK versus the Hurricanes. CAK pulled that one out 28-2. Our next game, actually, we'll just go through the left side division first. We'll go through the Gunslinger division. The Cougars were the number 1 seed. They ended up against CAK in that second game, ended up a comfortable win, 24-8. You got 1776 down there playing Betsy Built, one of the teams that put a really good run near the end of the season. But 1776, we talked about Isaiah Hall. Kid played huge during the playoff game.
Phenomenal.
All 3 of them. 1776 beat Betsy Built, and then you get the Cougars in 1776 in the semifinal, and actually a really close game, 26-22.
Good game, yeah.
And I didn't get to see how that one finished off, but you said it finished off pretty well. Tight, close game. So 1776 moved up into the championship game. When you look over here on the right side of the bracket, Gridiron division, Team Up Black finished first in the division. Bearden finished second. First game we had was Pressure versus Seymour, number 3 seed versus 6. Pressure pulled that one out 34-14. Pretty good, comfortable win. We had Carnes and the Crushers, the 4 and 5 seeds going against each other. Carnes pulled that one out. Another big win by Carnes, 20-16. Then you had Team Black versus Carnes, and there's about we always talk about it, right? I think people get spoiled a little bit, but it wasn't that. I think the kids had something they had to do. But during the regular season, generally it's play, space, play, space, play, or 2 games, a space, and a game. You normally only have to wait 30 minutes. The max you're going to wait during the season is an hour. And when you get to these tournaments, depending on the bracket, depending on how it's set, there's always a break. And there was about an hour and a half, 2-hour break between the Carnes Crushers game and the Black Carnes game. So Carnes forfeited that game. They didn't have enough to play. So Team Up Black moved on to the next division game, to the semis. Then a really big game with Bearden and Pressure. 2 of the top teams, a rematch from earlier in the day. And, it's tough in 7-on-7, man, when you rematch. Definitely if it's a close game, to just continue winning. And Pressure and Hunter White ended up pulling that one off to get to the semis. And then kind of the same situation, Team Up Black beat Pressure earlier in the day. And, Hunter White and Team Pressure came on strong. And
had a tremendous run, Tony, towards the end of the year, the last 2 weeks of the season, and, 3 weeks of the season.
You look at it, they had 6 wins in a row, then they lost 2, and then they had 3 wins in a row. And then you kind of get them, and Team Up Black, you give them a little credit on this one. I think they did have a good quarterback. Jaden Neal, quarterback from Catholic. I mean, freshman, probably one of the players of the year when it comes to that age group, as freshman in high school football. But so they had a guy, Briggs Cherry was the other guy that had been playing for the past few weeks. So, a little change up on the quarterback end, but Team Black still was winning and putting up points. But, they played Team Pressure in the semis, and Pressure won 22-19. Put them in the championship, and then, got the championship game, and Isaiah Hall.
Isaiah Hall just showed out.
Standing on one leg, man, throwing strike after strike after strike, 31-18 in the championship. That might be his first championship, in this league. Been playing since he's a 6th grader. So he's been playing this thing for 4 or 5 years. He played up with the 15U kids, 8th and 9th graders as a 6th grader there for a minute. So
that's how I was joking around. I told him that, Chad, they ought to make you the coach and make Justin the GM now.
Oh yeah, and that's fun, because Justin Smith is Isaiah Hall's father. It's good to mess around with that guy. I've known him for years, so I can, and Carlos can. But, it's been fun watching them do their thing. They put that program together. It was Team Venom last year, so it was a variety of different kids, and they had a really good program then. And this year wanted to really focus on the team at Jeff County and let Isaiah throw to his guys.
Did a great job.
Really develop something. So, Justin came in, and, it's tough coaching your guy, coaching your son. And, I hope, maybe one day I'll deal with that and see what it's like. But, watching dads do it, I'll tell you this, and, Justin knows I love him and I love Isaiah and their family. Justin was better on the field coaching Isaiah than he was on the sideline watching him. And, I mean, because when he became the coach, he carried himself well, man. I loved it. I know they were talking about plays, and they had a really great relationship in the huddle, calling the plays, and it was fun watching them.
Great to see that
actually
bond too.
enjoy
Yeah.
that part
Yeah.
of it together, because it's tough, man. Watching dads and kids compete and see how it goes, and everybody handles it different, and so far I've seen it all work fairly well for pretty much all of them, but everybody does it different, and so watching those two work together this year and have success was a good thing. It was a fun thing, so good luck to all the father son combos out there. I see a ton of you with the Gunslinger Challenge and stuff like that with quarterback dads, and I can only imagine how difficult it is and how much stuff you hear with daddy ball and stuff, but sometimes you can be a dad and have a real gunslinger. And he's the guy that should be playing the position, and sometimes you don't, but in a lot of cases you do, and so good job to those guys, doing their thing, man. But
Congratulations,
overall,
1776.
Yeah, championship, high school division this year. Overall, I think it was a good season. Probably one of the best ones yet when it comes to statistics and wins and just competitiveness. I think we're trying to get better, each year. To do, to organize and to add different things to it. Some different things we're already talking about for next year. I think we need to, as a staff, you don't have to, but we always want to show people respect and appreciation. So one of the big things we're going to work on next year is a sponsorship for the league, but we're also going to look for some sponsorships for our coaches, our referees. And, I did this years ago where, we were able to feed our coaches and feed our referees and stuff like that after games on the weekends, give them opportunities to, have discounts at different restaurants and stuff like that throughout, just as long as they have one of our cards that say they're, participating in what we're doing. But, I just want you to know we're going to really work, double time trying to, I think we've got the football part down, and now we just want to keep adding, to you guys, because I think anybody that's part of something, anything I've ever been a part of and helped. Whenever I get appreciation back, I work much harder, to protect the brand, and to protect whatever they're trying to put together. And that's what we want here. Our coaches, without the coaches and the referees, we just have a bunch of kids out there, and that's going to be chaos. So, we know you're super, super important, but we just got to find ways to show just more appreciation. And most of these coaches in 7-on-7 aren't they're good coaches, but they're not like coaches, right? They're not professional coaches. They're not getting paid to coach. They're not getting anything out of it. And I don't think there's one 7-on-7 program in the city that turns a profit when it comes down to it. When they buy gear, team fees, tournament fees, food, housing, lodging, whatever they do, if they're traveling, you don't make money. And a lot of these teams charge, $200, $300, $400. And to be honest with you, that's not a bad price, because if you go look around the country at some of these teams that travel, man, kids are paying, $400 or $500, and only get a couple a couple tournaments here and there. So, spending the money is not a bad thing. Just making sure you spend it on things that what you're going to get out of it, and so, we're just trying to add to that, so that, we want the coaches and referees, to be there, and want to really represent the brand, just different things, gear, other things. We're going to show you guys some love next year, man. And we've shown it in the past, but we just want to show a little bit more. Carlos, I've enjoyed it, man. Now it is a long season.
Yeah. I'm kind of torn at this point, Tony. I mean, I'm kind of glad that the season's over, but I'm going to definitely miss the Sundays, being out there with the kids, being out there with the coaches, being out there with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking last night, just trying to add something to it. One of the things we want to do, we've got you guys watching and keeping up with what we're doing. And I know 7-on-7 is a big thing, and the kids have a lot of fun. But, another way to just show, appreciation to the teams that have been coming out. One thing Carlos and I'll do, during the spring and spring practices now, is we're going to try to come out and see some of the teams that were actually involved in the league. Cover you guys a little bit, come out and get some videos and interviews and stuff like that, and just keep up with you guys. For us, and for me personally, I know Carlos the same way with the Tennessee Gridiron scouting stuff. If you're a client, quote unquote, whatever you want to call it, if you invest in a program of mine, or
Right.
and Carlos is, we want to invest in you, and we want to show you more love and make you feel like you're getting more out than what you put in. Even no matter how much you put in, and that's the goal. And I think that's why things grow. I think that's why things have improved. I think that's why people keep showing up. And that's one of the biggest things. I think everything's about experience, man. If you don't have a good experience, I know it's people don't come back, and so we're just trying to add to it and keep building, man. And so keep up with these guys during spring ball. Hopefully we'll have some summer camps, different things like that. Hopefully we'll have some scholarship offers to talk about here in the over the next little bit, and then when we get to the fall, same deal. So hopefully we can keep people watching. Staying on the Gridiron Report. We're not just going to keep it on 7-on-7. We're going to talk football. East Tennessee football, wherever, quarterbacking, all that good stuff.
How are we gonna wrap this season up, Tony? We gonna do an award show next week, or
I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll come up with a
got it?
good plan. We still have to at least give out our Players of the
Right for
Year
the week.
deal. So we'll see how we're going to do that. We may do a show. There's a couple ideas we've been talking about. So we'll reach out to you guys. If you led the league in stats, now you've seen the stats that you're one of our Players of the Year
Candidates.
guys. So we'll reach out to those guys here, sometime by the end of this week or early next week, and try to come up with something fun, and go from there.
Right. Great season.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Really enjoyed it. Year 5. Heck, I think we're just gonna have to quit putting year whatever
Yeah.
on it, and just let's call it the Gridiron League, man. And because I
Right.
think people know what we're doing, and we've been doing it long enough now. I think the brand is speaking for itself, and hopefully we can just improve on things, man, and have fun, and see these guys next year or here in a few
All
weeks
right.
or whatever we do it.